Utah struggles with Baylor, but gets away from the Bears in Waco 20-13. They score 2 touchdowns in the final 2 minutes of the game to steal this one from the Bears. And then Colorado dominates Nebraska in the second half. They win 36-14. I'd like to thank the Buffs for the free money on the Colorado -3 line. I think, Garrett, you picked up a little bit of that action as well. But Trey, you look at these two storylines. What sticks out to you? Do you think Utah is still a contender, and how high can Colorado go?
Utah's absolutely still a contender. They're in survival mode until Cam Rising's able to get back. And the fact that they were able to knock off 2 Power 5 teams without their starting quarterback and having to make quarterback switches today, I'm not really sure. The offensive game plan for Utah was a little questioning to me, frustrating to me a lot while I was watching that game today. Felt like you were getting 10 yards of carry when you handed it off to Juwan Johnson, who's Jaquan Johnson. Thank you. And they were getting 10 yards of carry when they were handing it off to him at points in that game. And they just were trying to get Barnes and Nick Johnson to throw the ball for some reason. And eventually that worked out for them, but felt like they could have made it a little bit easier on themselves. But again, they survived. They 2-0 against Power 5 competition without Cam Rising. That's a fantastic feat for them, and they're only going to get better when Cam Rising comes back. For Colorado, hats off to them for showing staying power. It was textbook letdown opportunity today. Rival coming into your home, big win last week, emotional win last week. It's really easy to rest on your laurels, especially when everybody was doubting you all off season, and you have that big moment to kind of shove in their faces. But they backed it up today. They had a tough start. They faced a lot of adversity in that first half. Nebraska was kind of bullying them for a good chunk of that first half. They finally started to break through towards the end of the second quarter, but the second half, it was all Colorado. It was their skill players finally got free, and the offensive line started to gel just a little bit more. I am a little concerned about that offensive line, as they get into the tougher part of their schedule with Oregon and USC and all these, big physical teams that they're going to face. But for now, it's a really, really fun story. The over-under was 3.5. And I don't know that a lot of people had either TCU or Nebraska in that 3.5. So we're starting to be able to play with house money, but Colorado's not going to be satisfied with the house money. I think they're pushing for championship contention. It's going to be really fun to watch how far they can go in year one.
Yeah. Thank you for validating that Utah pick, by the way, Trey. I needed that validation right there that when Cam gets back, everything's going to be fine. It has been so
the defense is fine. The defense is great on defense. Elite. They made Baylor look silly on the defensive side of the ball today.
They sure did. Well, and it's funny, too, because Robertson actually started the game pretty well for Baylor. And I texted y'all like, hey, they might have something here. And then just immediately after that, it's like they got 2 drives of film on them. They're like, oh, no, we got this. We know what to do.
It's like, wait, you're allowed to make adjustments in the middle of the game?
If you are. You are. I know.
Right? I'm going to call about that, Trey. I don't think that's true.
I don't think that's allowed.
Yeah.
Robertson, you're right, did not play well in totality. It was his first career start, right. So cut him a little bit of slack, I guess. But 10 of 25, 168 yards, 2 really bad interceptions that kind of sunk the Baylor ship. I was impressed by the Baylor defense, the way that they stood up, and they really
much better effort today.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. They had some juice early on, but the offense just couldn't get anything going. Jaquan Jackson was everything that we kind of expected him to be last week against Florida. Over 125 yards rushing this week against Baylor. Nick Johnson, I like seeing him. He's definitely a playmaker, has more of that dual threat ability than Bryson Barnes does. But yeah, I'm curious. I'm putting Utah officially a tier below USC and Oregon from what I'm seeing. But again, they don't have Cam Rising. Brenton Keithy hasn't been healthy either. So I am interested to see what Utah looks like when they're fully operational.
Yeah, things will get better when Cam returns. When Cam's back, things will get back up there. But right now, you're right. Like, if he doesn't play for the rest of the season, then, and I know that's not what's going to happen, but if he doesn't play for the rest of the season, then you're right. They're not on the same tier as Washington, as USC, as Oregon. And it's the reality of where they are right now. One more note on Colorado. I was really impressed with Shadur Sanders. I think I texted y'all this a little bit, but Shadur really has something going on there. We knew he had the talent. I was just expecting him to struggle more getting to that level. And not that he doesn't have the talent to do it, but just the way that the game rolls and the competition level, I thought there were going to be more struggles in his sort of warm up to it. And he certainly wasn't perfect. And his offensive line does not give him any favors, but he does a really good job with his feet, a really good job with, kind of pocket awareness. And man, he can zip a ball. He can really throw the football. So I was very impressed with Shadur Sanders. I think he's going to be very good. What they can put around him is still kind of yet to be seen. On the other side, Jeff Sims, maybe not so good. Maybe not quite where Shadur Sanders is in his career.
I've never seen as many journalists call for the end of someone's tenure at a university than I did today when Jeff Sims was turning the football over. He couldn't handle a snap. He threw an interception. He fumbled twice and lost both of those fumbles.
Yep.
I mean, Nebraska is not a bad team. We saw that in the first half. The defense looked competent. Now, the offense is a mess. Granted, they're going to have to build that from the studs. This is in the models, though. We told you Matt Rule takes his sweet time building the runway for his program. So that I'm not concerned about. But you got to go to somebody else. I mean, we're not trying to lose games at Nebraska, right? There's no benefit to tanking in college.
Yeah, we're not
football.
getting the first number 1 overall draft pick.
So get Jeff Sims off the dang field and put Chubba Purdy in, because anything is better than what Sims is doing. At this point, you heard Joe Klatt talk about it. It's all mental. The kid is thinking about turning the ball over every single time he steps foot on the field. And then guess what? It happens. He finds a way to throw an interception. He finds a way to fumble away a snap. Nebraska fans, I mean, I feel for you. I really do, because you have talented pieces around you, and I think you can win some games this season. You're not a bad football team in totality. You're a rebuilding football team, but Jeff Sims is a bad quarterback, and I think if you are going to win, it's not going to be with him under center. So
I think if they can find a way to, give him a couple gadget plays a game, I think he can be a very valuable piece for them. Because you saw that today when he broke off that long touchdown run. You're like, yeah, that's why he's in that position. They're not idiots to, he's shown something at practice. They're not just throwing him out there because they know that he's going to tank them. So if they can find a way to get him involved for a few gadget plays, I think that would be the best situation for him. But I agree, they really need to find a solution at quarterback if it's just going to keep spiraling out of control.
Gracious, how about